My voice hurts. Let's go, 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 let's go. Welcome back. I'm not gonna lie, it don't feel right wearing a Hawaiian shirt today. Like something about the comms that have come out from Trump on Truth Social talking about wiping Iran off of the map. And I am wearing a Hawaiian shirt, just like doesn't feel right. But you got to do what you got to do, man. And we have Peter Schiff coming back on the stream today. And he rocks Hawaiian shirts, so I'm rocking Hawaiian shirts. So welcome back. So the plan for today is we have a lot of war stuff to go over. Like we just do. As much as I would love to talk about crypto and how good my Zcash long looks, we have more important stuff to talk about. There's a deadline on the table for about 4 hours from now of whether or not Trump is going to send Iran back to the Stone Age. And so we're going to get caught up on everything that's happened today. We'll talk about oil a little bit, read a lot of posts, watch some videos. And then Mr. Schiff is actually coming on today. And then tomorrow, we actually have a sneaker guest, Rory Johnston, who, if you know who this is, doesn't follow me, but he's like a lifelong oil researcher and has really good takes. We've been reading all of his tweets basically on stream as it relates to oil, as it relates to crude, the market, all of it. It's going to be on tomorrow. Oh, Michigan. Dude, UConn lost yesterday. It was an incredible game. I'm honestly kind of sad about it, but it is what it is. Dan Hurley. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Like, for the people that don't care about basketball, it was the college basketball national championship yesterday, which you should just care about because sports are awesome. And Michigan has one of probably the best college basketball teams ever assembled. I'm just going to be honest. They paid like 30 mil for it. 5 transfers in the starting lineup. They dominated the game. It was way more than a 10-point game or whatever it actually ended in. And it was, it was domination. It was just like pure, unfiltered, utter domination. And so shout out to Michigan. Dan Hurley, I love you. Oh, real quick, the Peter Thiel steroid games are soon. I'm pretty hyped. Very hype. The Juice Olympics are coming up. I'm excited for that. Maybe we can stream it. But all right, we have serious stuff to talk about. Let's just go right into market close. Somehow, some way, by the grace of God and I guess Donald Trump himself, SPX closes plus 0.1% on the daily. After one of the craziest Donald Trump tweets we've ever seen, ever. A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight, one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran. And so I was going to sleep in before I read this, but I read it again before I've seen the sun. I read it and I was just like, I thought it was a shit post at first. I reread it. I thought it was like a doomer tweet. I reread it. And then my first thought is, wow, this like he might be serious. So I run downstairs. I'm ready for a circuit breaker open. And it's the base 16Z meme. We'll look at Zcash in a minute. It's the base 16Z SPY down plus, minus 0.3%. And I honestly was just like, man, this is nuts. Like I can't believe it. Q's flat, IG flat, crazy. Nothing's red, crazy. The Dow is red, of course. Nasdaq minus 0.3. Crypto looks pretty insane right now in through this taco. Or this taco extension headline, if you will. Okay. Hyperliquid 37.2. Silver's at 72. Sol 82. I mean, this is just Sol. Sol like printing green candles. You look at it, it's at $80. It's like cursed ass token. Zcash right now is absolutely piss missile candling at 277. I told you guys I'm along this a couple days ago. I would like to add to this, but I just I can't do it until we definitively break when there's like nukes on the horizon. I just can't. Like when we're talking about insane escalations, I just cannot be, high leverage long Zcash beyond a nibble. So I took a little nibble, a little feeler, a little Jesse Livermore stab at it, and then I'm down to slam this thing above, but break some levels, maybe above 290, in the 300s. There's definitely been a little bit of a vibe shift, I think, on some premier crypto tokens. Number one, obviously being Hyperliquid, and this thing looks pretty good as well. Bitcoin's I want to say sick candle, but not bad candle on the taco. Looks pretty good. 69.2. Also stretches over 100 or at 100. That means Sailor 632 BTC today. Just fucking slamming it. I think yesterday we were in like the thousands, deep thousands, which is awesome. You love to see that. Tau looks fine, and let's go. Defense is all red except Palantir. Actually looks pretty good. It's a pretty nice chart. Chemical fertilizer that I pay no attention to are all green. Individual names, it's crazy. Nvidia closed green. Apple down 2. Netflix flat. Oracle down 2. This is a pretty horrid chart right here, huh? Broadcom up 6 is crazy. Tesla down another 2. I'm telling you, man, Dev is launching a second token. This never goes well. This Google chart actually is pretty gross. Up 2% today. So we'll see what happens. Intel is sick, up 5%. And then individual names that we care about. Hims down 4%. I saw this announcement today, by the way. I'm ready to stop taking the hair pills. I'm ready to just fucking mail it in. Okay, because look at this shit. Hims CFO, who has access to all the financials in real time, just proposed selling 75% of his shares. It's like, bro, I take Hims pills every day, and they're selling 75% of their shares. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Concluding here, nothing else we really care about. Hood, whatever. Nothing crazy. XYZ, I haven't looked at this in a while. Looks like shit. Nothing else really that we care about. So, okay, this video is kind of crazy, but Trump has put out these threats to like bomb a lot of like just civilian infra in Iran, talking about bridges and talking about power plants. And these videos came out and they're kind of crazy. Iranians form a human shield power plant ahead of Trump's threatened strikes, which is pretty. I don't know, it's just like a crazy watch. Like, it's just like a whoa kind of watch. There's the one at the second reaction. Tim Dillon, who's kind of been on a run. He's been all over my Twitter recently.
I don't give a fuck about Iran either. Sorry. Throw him out if you don't like him. It has nothing to do with me. And the fact that the idea that I have to give a flying fuck, you should be standing with Iran. Shut the fuck up. Will you shut the fuck up? If they want to throw the bums who run Iran out, throw them the fuck out. But the idea that the United States of America, when people can't afford houses and they can't...
Probably my favorite gay. Is he gay? Really? Your favorite gay? Really? Is Tim Dillon gay? Yes. Huh. It's Tim Dillon. Not that it like changed my opinion. I'm just one of the straightest gays. Marriage rumors. He posted on Instagram and Facebook that he got married with the caption, homosexuality was a phase. Interesting.
But the idea that the United States of America, when people can't afford houses and they can't afford health care, spends all its fucking time talking about the Middle East and fucking Arabs and Jews and religion and the fucking temple and slaughtering a heifer and Iran, Sunnis and Shiites. Get what the fuck is going on? Truly, what the fuck is going on that we're told, well, is Iran Sunni or Shiite?
He kind of sounds like Alex Jones, by the way. All right. That's where we're at today. Yo, Mr. Schiff.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the stream, man. How are you?
I'm okay. I forget your name.
It's okay, Peter.
All right.
It's Thread Guy.
I just call you Thread Guy.
You can call me Michael. We've been through this before, the who are you again, but we'll get it for part 3, man. But welcome back.
Yeah, that's some shirt.
And I wore it for you, by the way.
All right, Michael.
Well, look, welcome back to the stream, Mr. Schiff. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. And I want to start with a quick laze, okay? And I want to give you some props because you came on the show in like late October. And I have this friend, Frank. And Frank built this little product that basically allows you to copy and paste any media, podcast, tweet, or whatever that has some trade idea. You could backdate it and you could see how the trade played out. So like if you listen to this interview from 3 months ago, how would the trade idea and the interview have played out? And I've had a lot of guests on the stream over the last year, probably hundreds of guests. And I have to admit that your interview in October and the trade it came up with was short Bitcoin, long gold, I think like October 20th, is in fact the single best performing trade that has happened on my stream. So with a heavy heart, I do have to congratulate you on that achievement, Mr. Schiff.
Yeah, well, in all fairness, I've probably made that call before. So it's probably not the only time I did it. So that may be one of the times it worked.
Because there's a bunch of other stuff to talk about. And here's where I want to start is it's been, I think, 6 months since you've come on the show, give or take. And near the end of the interview, I asked you for advice on, what to do. And your advice was go to your local grocery store and hoard toothpaste because supplies are going to be very scarce really soon. And one way or another, things have escalated, geopolitical tensions, things have gotten into a weird spot. And so I kind of want to give you a chance to set the stage on you were here 6 months ago. How do you envision where the world is going over the next 6 months?
Yeah, well, obviously, when I was on before, we weren't at war,
Yes.
and so that actually uh, even increases the reasons why you would want to start hoarding stuff. I mean, before I was mainly looking at prices and thinking, look, if you got extra cash, just buy the stuff that you're going to need in the future
Mm.
and buy it now because it's going to be more expensive in the future. So you might as well buy it. In fact, I was upset. I was on my boat all week for vacation, and I didn't realize that the captain, we hadn't filled up the tanks with diesel. We had about each tank was about a quarter full, and I was like, crap. I wish I didn't realize that we were so low because I would have told them to fill it up because I knew as soon as the war started I would have like crap. We better buy a bunch of diesel. And so now I'm like, what do I do? I mean, maybe it'll pull back a little bit before I pull the trigger. I get very good mileage on my boat because it's solar powered, but I run the generators on diesel, so that diesel could last me a year or two. But I would have liked to have filled it up before.
How big is
the
your
pro-
boat?
But I may have to fill up the tanks now because it's possible that they could be rationing the stuff. Who knows what might happen in the future if this war continues and the disruption is bigger. Uh, you know, uh, but yeah, I think people need to be stocking up if you've got the room, obviously. And I think that is the advice I give a lot of people who don't even have money to invest. Someone says, well, what should I do? I don't have money to invest. Well, you have money to stock up on non perishable items that you're going to need, and you might as well buy them now as opposed to keeping your cash in the bank and buying them later when the prices are higher. And they may not be around. I mean, they could be in short supply. There could be rationing. There could be price controls. I mean, who the hell knows where this thing is headed? So, it's better to have the things
Do you have a bunker?
than need to buy them.
Do you have a bunker?
No, I guess my boat might be my bunker. I can hang out there
How
if I
big is your
have to,
boat?
I guess. Well, it's not that big. I mean, it's a catamaran,
Okay.
so it's 60 feet long and it's about 35 feet beam. So it's wide for its size. So it feels pretty roomy.
So most of my time on this stream, we've talked about crypto, talked about a little bit of equities, a little bit of stocks. But over the last 2 months, I mean, we've been forced to really pivot everything that we're doing and talk about the Middle East, talk about the Iran conflict, talk about oil. I got the barrel in the background, and talk about this, USA Iran conflict. And the most jarring thing to me so far has been how difficult it is to navigate truthful and honest information, right? And you sort of have both sides. You have news outlets that are owned by select parties. You have leaders on both sides that have incentives to lie and fabricate information, manipulate markets, help prices, everything in between. And it's pretty, it's jarring how difficult it is to decipher what is real and actually happening versus what is not. Like, how do you now, how do you do this?
Well, I mean, pretty much most of the information coming from government, I think, is inaccurate or outright lies. Certainly, most of what Donald Trump says is a lie. First he used to lie mainly about the economy, but now he seems to be lying about the war. But yeah, I mean, I kind of just tuned it out. I mean, I listened to it just so I can comment on it, but I don't put any stock in it. I look at what's actually happening, not what people are saying is happening.
So what are you paying the most attention to, especially right now?
Well, I look at the markets, obviously. So I look at the
Yeah.
price of gold. I look at the bond market. I look at the US dollar as kind of indicators of our investors figuring this out. To what extent are they recognizing these problems? And I do look at the economic data, knowing that a lot of it is, unreliable and manipulated.
It seems like all things considered, Trump has been able to maintain significant control over the stock market, right? Like even on a day like today, one of his crazy posts of all time, tweeted, Truth Social posting I was gonna send, Iran back to the Stone Age. I mean, we closed green on the day on SPX. Like how has he been able to maintain control over the stock market and not let this spiral out of control?
Well, I don't know how much he's controlling it, but I think the stock market at this point, um, you know, Trump is kind of like the boy who cried wolf. The posts over the weekend are just so extreme and over the top, especially the most recent one where the deadline was 8 p.m. tonight,
Tonight.
and that was going to be the death of Iranian civilization, never to return. I mean, what the hell does that mean? You're destroying their entire civilization? I mean, it goes back thousands of years. But what does that even mean? I mean, are you talking about killing off the people? I mean, they're part of the civilization. I don't know. I mean, before that, he was just going to bomb them back to the Stone Ages. But I guess the Stone Ages was still some kind of civilization as opposed to killing the entire civilization. But I think the markets are kind of like, this is just Trump. They don't believe it. And I think, if investors don't believe it, why would the Iranians believe it? But the thing is, I saw videos. The Iranians, they have thousands of people on the bridges.
Lined up.
These are Trump said, I'm going to bomb the bridges. And so instead of going away from the bridges, there are thousands of people, women and children, on the bridges. They're like chanting. So how are we supposed to bomb those bridges? Could you imagine if you're a pilot and a bomber and you're supposed to drop a bomb on a bridge full of women and children? Who the hell's going to drop that bomb? I mean, so the whole thing is ridiculous at this point. So I think the markets are rallying or, rallied into the close, and they didn't sell off that much because everybody's trying to anticipate the extension. Okay, you got 2 weeks more before I destroy you completely. But I don't even like that. I don't know why Trump is even negotiating on Truth Social. Why can't he just communicate privately with the Iranian leadership? Why does this all have to be out in the open? That doesn't even make any sense unless, it's all a bunch of bullshit. And so, but, the markets, I think, are now realizing that this isn't going to happen because I think if investors thought there was even a realistic probability that we were going to carpet bomb Iran tonight and wipe out their civilization, I think the stock market would have been down a lot more than 400 points, which was like the low, which is nothing for the Dow to be down 400 points. And, I think oil prices would have, moved considerably higher. Because, we would really be upping the stakes in this war if we did that. And remember, Trump claims that part of the reason he's doing this is to liberate the Iranian people from their oppressive regime. Well, if you're doing it for the people, how do you threaten to destroy their civilization and bomb them back to the Stone Age? How does that help the people? So that kind of rhetoric, not only is it inflammatory, but it doesn't even fit what he claims the objective is.
I don't know if this is part of this like larger just trend of unveiling the curtain and everything in public. It didn't used to be this way, but something that's been pretty jarring about following this war is how there's just been this feels like a blatant manipulation of good news right before market close, bad news right after close, right? Even starting strikes happen on February 28th, right after Friday close, escalate right before futures open, good headline, market closes, bad headline. Like it feels like there's this pretty blatant manipulation.
Yeah, I mean, that's also a possibility that Donald Trump puts out those posts knowing that he is going to back away and giving people that have the information for sure. Because a lot of us, look, we can guess. We've seen this movie before, right? We know how it ends, but there's no guarantee. But if you are a real insider and Donald Trump has told you, I am going to put out this post to scare the shit out of everybody, but don't worry, I am going to call it off. It's a lock, right? I'm going to do it for sure. And once you know that, well, now you can really go into the markets in size with a lot of confidence, and you can buy S&P futures. First of all, you could get short before the post, and then you can reverse long. You can, you can really get loaded up to make a killing if you know for a fact what is going to happen. And that one thing is the people in the Trump administration, they are savvy when it comes to the market, because most of these people have come from Wall Street and the markets, and so they know how to trade and they know how markets work. So I think you have a lot of people who are certainly in a position to profit from this type of insider information. And if the only one who can prosecute it is Trump himself, because he's in charge of the SEC, then you pretty much know that you're in the clear. I can't recall at any point in time where any president, including Trump, 45, any president that had so much of an impact on financial markets on a day-to-day basis. There was always an impact on major news announcements that came out of government. So the government comes out with the jobs numbers. And the markets would move on that. But I can't recall markets moving the way they move based on the president saying anything. So, I mean, other than, we starting a war, but, Trump just influences the markets. People now look at Truth Social. Probably traders have Truth Social, up on their screens.
You have to.
Following Trump. In fact, the only reason people go to Truth Social is to see what Trump says. Because if you're not on Truth Social, by the time you know about it, it's too late to trade. So the traders are probably stuck. There may be some algorithms that are particularly, coded in to immediately input trades based on what Trump posts. But I don't like the fact that the president has so much sway over the markets on a day-to-day basis, which opens up to the opportunity to trade on that information. Because you're not even trading on insider information about the company. It's not like I got advanced information on a buyout, or I know what the earnings are. This doesn't move necessarily individual stocks. It moves the entire market. So you're just making directional bets. Stocks up, stocks down, Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down, oil up, oil down, right? You can just make these bets because you know exactly how the markets are going to react to whatever the president says, because you've seen how they've reacted before.
I actually do have a crypto question for you, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with Hyperliquid, 24/7 perps on basically everything at this point. But over the last couple months, first with this gold but silver mania, having access to trading that over the weekend caught these like crazy gains that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to catch. And then secondly, with oil, right? Trump, U.S. and Israel strikes February 28th at like Friday night. Markets closed by Monday open or futures open. There's like this $20 gap in crude that if you were trading Hyperliquid perps on oil, you could have realized those gains. Have you followed this at all? 24/7 perps?
I don't know about that, but I do know, I remember there was a move up in oil futures over the weekend because the war started on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But early that week, crude had come back down and it really wasn't up that much. And you had all of these Trump shills in the financial media saying, you see, this is because of drill, baby, drill. We're no longer dependent on the rest of the world. You see, it doesn't matter. and here we are, $115. So we've doubled. And I was saying at the time, I said, just give it some time. That's why I wish I had realized that my tanks were low. I would have run in, filled them all up. So
All right, before I ask you about gold, I want to ask you one more like Trump
yeah,
admin question. I feel like I'm ragging
yeah.
on the Trump admin, but okay, my friend wrote this article. My friend based 16Z, popular Twitter commentator, wrote this article called "Loot and Rob," and the basic premise was that we've reached late stage empire, late stage America, and the goal of all of the elite powerful in America is to take as much money as humanly possible and run.
Yeah.
Right? Some examples of this are like respectfully, Donald Trump, first day in office, launches a meme coin, or like how many, founders have not gone public, raised private rounds up to 1.5 trillion, what SpaceX is going to do, IPO on the public and token stock goes down only, or Donald Trump Jr., they buy this like drone company right before we go to war in Iran. It feels like there's this trend of people in power sort of taking as much as possible and then picking the ladder up behind them. Like, is
Yeah,
this
I
something
think
that you felt was this happening when you were young, like back in the day? Have you seen this before? Like, how do you feel about this?
no. I mean, this is a unprecedented, the graft in this administration, the amount of money that they're making off of the presidency. Now, you could say, well, Trump's just a savvier businessman than his predecessors, and he's, exploiting the office and using it to his advantage. But he didn't do that in his first term. Nothing like this. And so I don't like it at all. I mean, I don't like any of this. I mean, the money that he made off of crypto, off of Trump coin and Melania coin, and his crypto business that his sons are involved in, crypto mining, all these deals, and then going around the Middle East and cutting deals that benefit his companies. Um, all of this is, it dwarfs anything that Hunter Biden did with his dad. And I was critical of the Bidens, and so were a lot of Republicans, and I supported their criticism of the Bidens. But those same Republicans are not saying a word about what the Trumps are doing, which is way worse than what the Bidens were doing. So I don't like hypocrisy at all on this. And certainly there's a lot of ways to influence the president, bribe the president now. I mean, not just by handing him bars of gold, but you could bribe him by buying his tokens, making donations to his ballroom, which I've been against this ballroom from the beginning. I don't like turning the White House into a palace. It's supposed to be more modest. It's a house. It's not the White Castle or the White Palace. It's the White House. The president is not royalty. I don't want big balls at the White House. The whole idea of it. But Trump wants to make it more of a palace. And that's not the whole idea of what America is supposed to be about. He's there for a short period of time, but he's not a king. So I don't like any of this stuff. You can look too at the other ways that Trump seems to be making money. Look at the club that they set up. His kids set up this club in Washington, D.C. called like the Capitol Club. And it's the second most expensive members club in the country after Mar-a-Lago. And it's $500,000 to join. And what does that get you? That means you can go in and have lunch with Trump's cabinet members who hang out there. So it's almost like, that's what you have to pay.
Are you a member?
No, I'm not a member. But I'm sure that a lot of people, like, you want to get to the president, you buy into the club. You hand over the $500,000 and they schedule a meeting at the Capitol Club or whatever it is, the executive club, executive branch. I forget the name of it. But I mean, the whole family is making a fortune off of Trump being president and the influence that he has, the power that he has by virtue of the fact that he holds this office. And none of this should be allowed. But it's all a horrible precedent for the future. Because if Trump gets away with it, then everybody going to get away with it.
Okay, so on another note, since you last came on the stream, gold is up like, I don't know, 100+%, something insane.
Well, $100 wouldn't be insane. It's probably up a lot, probably up 1,000,
Percent,
if not
percent,
more.
percent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, percent. Where did this bid come from? Like, who was the marginal bidder on gold on this? I mean, crazy.
Well, I think the main buyers for the run from 2,000 to 5,500 was coming from central banks. I think the last move from maybe 5,000 to 5,500, I think we finally got, private investors, speculators kind of getting in, jumping on the bandwagon, and then, we had a pullback. But the majority of the demand came from central banks. And I think that that's going to continue. And in fact, I think what's going on right now with Iran is just going to fuel that trend. And that the United States has created even greater incentives to diversify out of the dollar and to move more of your reserves into gold. So I think that trend is going to continue. It's going to accelerate. And I think that more private investors are going to be moving into gold in the years ahead. I think they're starting to recognize now the importance of gold and looking at the 25-year track record now since 1999, and how the U.S. stock market is down by better than 75% measured in gold. So, gold's preserving value a lot better than stocks. And I also think a lot of the money that kind of sidetracked into Bitcoin, 2021, 2022, up through, 2025, I think a lot of that money is going to start moving into gold. I mean, the investors, maybe not the money coming out of Bitcoin, because a lot of the money can't get out of Bitcoin. Bitcoin will just implode. But the investors that were allocating money into Bitcoin instead of gold going forward, to the extent that they're going to allocate more money to an inflation hedge, an alternative asset, they'll favor gold. They'll be putting new money into gold instead of putting it into Bitcoin.
What is your advice for how to navigate the trading environment, specifically 2026 and on?
Well, look, obviously, whenever gold goes down, just buy it, right? You're getting an opportunity. When silver goes down, buy it. Go to Shift Gold and buy some gold and silver, because I think any pullback is a buying opportunity. And I think, rallies in the dollar should be sold, and people should be moving more assets abroad. I think that is going to be the theme that dominates the landscape for the next decade or more, is going to be the flow out of U.S. assets, out of U.S. stocks and bonds, back into global stocks that are, much better valuations. I think central banks continue to move out of dollars into gold, and investors keep moving out of the U.S. into other markets. The money has been flowing into the United States for 20 years. Now I think it's going the other way. So I would encourage, your listeners to check out my websites at shiftgold.com and Europe Pacific Asset Management, europac.com, and listen to my podcast. I'm probably going to do a live podcast in a couple hours on my YouTube channel, so people can sign up there. And also Shift Radio is where they can listen to it besides my YouTube channel.
Peter, I'll tell you what, man, we're different ages. We hold some different assets, but you have a fan in me, Mr. Schiff.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming back on. Is there anything else you want to say? Shout out, anything? We'll definitely check you out later today.
I think I got enough out there, Yeah, so
sick, man. Thanks for coming back on. Hopefully part 3, maybe 10K gold. We'll run it back. Looking forward to any updates on the presidential campaign, and it's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah,
thanks for your time. Peace.
So
oh, I just rugged him. No, I rugged him. Fuck. No. Luke, where's the link? Luke. No. Where's the link? No. Oh, he's gone. What? Trump True Social. No. What did he announce? Refresh. Oh my God. What's the announcement? A betting related to the U.S. and Iran is about to be finalized tonight, according to CNN, with a regional source indicating that positive developments on both sides are imminent. Wow, bang, bro. Bang, chat. Bang, chat. Bang, chat. A potential deal between the U.S. and Iran is expected to be finalized tonight, according to CNN. Wow. So what now? Oil. Look, this is the candle you get. I told you this is a weak ass, bitch ass candle. It's weak. Minus 3%. Wow, my tweet's fucked. Look at this. I was so close. Let's see. What do we got? Oil slumps 8%. Okay. All right. Open image, new tab. Thank you. Based on conversation with Prime Minister and Field Marshal of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to a complete, immediate, and safe. Wait. Whoa. And subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. Did that happen? Are we saying that happened? I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This would be a double-sided ceasefire. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. We received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it is a workable basis on which to negotiate. Almost all of the various points of past contention have been agreed to between the U.S. and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized. On behalf of the United States of America as president, also representing the countries of the Middle East. Dina, please find the 10 points. It is an honor to have this long-term problem close to resolution. He's hedging. Close to resolution. Thank you for touching this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Close to resolution and subject to the Strait of Hormuz opening fully. It's not open. What does the market think? Market is long. Market is tits long. All right, wait, let's see the 10 points. Market is tits long. All right, here we go. 10 points. 1, permanent end of the war, no temporary ceasefire. Okay. 2, no future attacks on Iran once U.S. and Israeli guarantees. Okay. 3, no Israeli strikes in Hezbollah, including in Lebanon. Okay. 4, lift all sanctions. That's a big one. Full sanction release. 5, end regional fighting, not just attacks on Iran. Feels reasonable. 6, reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Iran would end its blockade. This is part of Iran's proposal. 7, safe passage rules in Hormuz for ship movement. 8, charge about $2 million per ship transit fee instead of direct compensation. Brutal. Toll forever. Will never be the same. 9, split the fees with Oman. Shared proceeds. 10, use Iran's share for reconstruction to rebuild damaged infrastructure. Well, as unreasonable as these demands may seem to the U.S., they are talking, which is bullish. Wait, where is that coming from? Where did that just come from? So, yeah, I guess it's from the toll. Wow. Oh my fucking God. Zcash, Moon, Bitcoin, fucking candling, Solana, silver, candle, gold, candle, Tau even, candle. Wow, look at Hyperliquid. Oil, lower, Zcash 316, Bitcoin, movie. What else do we have here moving? Candle, pump, candle. Wow, pump is strong as fuck. Monad, candle, lighter, not great. We need a response, though. Like, okay, suspending attacks on Iran for 2 weeks on the win condition that they're reopening the Strait of Hormuz. But are they reopening the Strait of Hormuz? I don't see that anywhere. Where is that explicitly stated? No, they're not opening that shit. That's the only leverage. Bro, they want to be done. Their leverage now is they need it open to make money. But if they have a toll, they make more money. I think they want it to be done. I believe they want it to be done. We'll just check oil to see how serious this is. And wow. I said the oil down candle will not be worth slamming long. I said minus 10%. Minus 10% would be like low 90s. It's down 5. And Bitcoin is up how much? I still believe this, by the way. Bitcoin is how much? Like, this is where we started getting excited about like ceasefire stuff. Couple percent. We need Iran to come out and say that the strait is back open. Straight back open means poly market ceasefire. It's down a little bit. Wow. 60%. Wow, that's printing volume. 60%. April 15th is 80%. Long oil, LOL. No way. Can't. You just can't. I don't think they will ceasefire tonight. So what are we waiting on? We need Iran to come out and declare. Wow, look at this thing. Oh my God. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. We need Iran to come out and declare they're done. Like, we all knew he would talk on the Liberation Day anniversary. No. April 9th. That is insane. Where are we at? This is crazy. This is cinema. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. Tomorrow we have like maybe the most tapped in oil coverage thinker trader in the market, Rory Johnston. I hope you enjoyed Peter Schiff today. And tomorrow's gonna be a fucking banger. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting to come on and get off immediately because I was dying. But that's where we're at. I love you all. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. EST every single day. It's more like 3:45. I love you. I'm out. Peace.